Well, you be the guy to show me.
This is our place.
This is our place, right? Love it. Well, fitness center vibes. Cumbie?
What's up, my man?
How you doing, brother? It's
Good.
great to see you.
Good to see you, man.
It's been way too long.
Yes, it has.
So stoked we could link up.
Yep.
Talk a little story.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen you since Cal.
Yeah. I think I probably last time was, I don't know, man. Probably at a game day, like I was saying, at your house.
Yeah, we
Probably
had
having a few brewskis or something.
Few beers, a few too many fun
Yeah.
times and laughs, and
Yeah.
the cottage was always the spot.
Yeah, it was the spot. The spot.
That little turf area with Nap and
Yeah.
Stan and UP.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was good, man. Cal was such a joy, and we had
Yeah.
such a great group of dudes on the baseball team.
Yes. Yeah,
The UCLA boys hated us, and
Yeah.
Will speaks on it. Whatever. Will's like Savage hated playing, Cal.
Yeah.
Bunch of zoo animals up there.
Literally, we were just reckless, dude. We were all of
It
us.
was so reckless.
Yeah, it was. Like you said, we're just the best guys on our team. Like anybody who went there, like, has nothing bad to say about Cal. Like, it was like all of the best times of our lives. You know?
It was.
and
I mean,
it was mine too.
Completely, and it goes by like that.
Yeah, it goes by so quick.
Especially if you leave after your sophomore year.
Yeah, I know, man. I was thinking, like, when I first got drafted and I was playing, I was like in rookie ball, just thinking how much I would rather be writing a paper in my dorm room. Like that's how brutal rookie ball was, and like that's how much fun Cal was too. Like it was the best time of my life. I still look back on those days, and I wish I could go back. You know?
Yeah, one day. You'll wrap up.
Maybe,
agree,
yeah.
Maybe.
I was thinking about being 45, like back at school, having the time of my life.
Perfect. Yeah. I remember those guys used to roll, and I'm like, how fucking old is this guy?
Yeah, there's like 60-year-olds just like in our class. I don't know if they were supposed to be there or what, but they were there.
I used to bring my dad into classes.
Yeah.
When he'd come visit, I'd be like, yo, Pops, you want to go to a history class?
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty fun, for sure. But, since Cal, you've gone on to do amazing things. You're now AAA with the Giants, rehabbing a bit, but got drafted by the Braves initially, then bounced to another squad. You then were with who?
The Orioles. Yeah, I got traded. You got traded in 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Cool. And then just got picked up by the Giants in the last 6 months?
Signed in December.
In December,
like December 22nd, actually.
So it's been about 6 months, and it sounds like it's been a joy.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. I mean, being from California, like I grew up a Giants fan. I was actually Matt Cain's perfect game. I was actually there with some friends. We were in left field in the stands, and I just grew up going to it was Pac Bell, then AT&T, and now it's Oracle. So growing up going to that stadium,
Oracle.
So
Will and I used to do the same with JT Snow and all the boys. Yeah, Pac Bell was the best.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, I guess now Oracle it still is.
Yeah. Such a cool stadium, and it's actually interesting. Like, it's the only place I've ever like dreamed or like in my head envisioned playing in the big leagues. So it's just kind of interesting how it worked out. So maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I'm not sure, but I
like your chances.
Yeah.
Once we get that shoulder.
Gotta get that shoulder right.
But I love it. So here you are in Arizona, spring training, rehabbing a little bit. Off the field, you are married now. You have a new boy named Duke.
Yeah.
Another on the way.
Yeah.
It's got to be cool to have that family environment as your plan. It's your work.
Yes.
And that's such a great outlet. Do you have any other good creative outlets right now, or
like outside of baseball, you're saying? Or,
outside of baseball? Here's Schmidt. Actually, it's D-Mac saying hi.
Outside of baseball, I mean, I like to work out. That's we just came out of the fitness center, so you know what we did, man. Come on. So I like to work out. That's probably like one of my biggest hobbies. I like to hunt. I like to surf. I don't know, just like, but those are the few things. I like to cook with my wife. I got into some smoking some meats this 2 winters ago now. So I'll throw down some brisket, some
You're
pulled pork.
just the quintessential American man.
We gotta be.
You are from Turlock, Central Cal, hunt, fish, surf.
Yeah.
Smoke some meat.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's go.
Love it.
So.
I was gonna say, with your outlets, surfing, hunting, even, what have you learned in those 2 activities alone, and even cooking?
Okay.
What have you learned in those activities that you've been able to apply to the game?
Okay.
Baseball.
That's a good question. I mean, I think just like the ability to be present, right? Like when you're surfing, like it's just you out there on that board, like, or especially when you're catching a wave, like there's no other thought in the world. And I think if you can take that into sport and even everyday life, like you're gonna be so much better off.
Yeah.
So those are the things, and just being out in nature, being out in the wild, and I think it's just there's just something so beautiful about it, right? And I think just taking that to baseball, like being present. If you're not present playing baseball, like you're screwed.
You're smart.
I mean, I'm sure like you remember playing. I'm sure Will remembers playing. Like when your thoughts are elsewhere, like dude, it's a disaster.
Good luck.
Disaster.
It's kind of weird that baseball is such a unique game though, where you have to be in such that moment at any given point, because when you're not thinking, when you're, quote unquote in the zone,
Yeah.
it's when, it comes easy.
Yes.
You see the ball better.
Yep.
Plays come easier. So I think, with surfing and hunting too, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
Where that
Absolutely.
sense of presence is just so important.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna have to get on a little hunting adventure with you.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever go down to what's the ranch in Tejon Ranch? Have you ever been to Tejon?
Oh no! I mean, I've driven past it many times.
Big hunting ranch,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Going, just going. I think the slow and everything. It's that big old ranch. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Same question applies for you with growing up in the Central Valley. We were talking adult last night a bit about it, and I mean, I'm envious of it at times because it's such, in the best way possible, a simpler lifestyle.
Yeah.
People appreciate the finer things in life.
Yeah.
Right? Family, friends,
Yeah.
working hard. Those special moments, whether it's
Yeah.
the birth of your first son,
Yeah.
a little bit more. It just feels a little more special. So, growing up in the Central Valley, like what were those core principles for you that have shaped you to who you are now?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think family is so important. I think just growing up, my family and I were so close. So I'm extremely thankful for that. You're right. Like the Central Valley, it's a huge ag community.
Yeah.
And so we hone in on hard work, and it's like we don't finish till the job's done, And I think just structuring your life around like getting things done and like doing what's right. And I think that's super important, and that's one thing that I've learned from that. And I think I'm just thankful for my parents who raised me in that sense. And it's just a beautiful area. I love it. I know Dalton's moved out here now. He's betrayed us, but
I know, right?
I'm still stuck in the Central Valley, and I love it, man. It's
Turlock.
That's where I want to raise my kids, and it's beautiful. Like we're so close to the mountains too, and the beach. Not as close as y'all in SoCal, but we're like 2 hours, which is nice. So if I want to go wake up and go surf that day, it's not too crazy to do,
Totally. What board are you riding right now? You need kind of a big boy to float the.
I do. I know, man, or else I sink. No. So I sometimes I'll just cruise with the wave storm, the Costco
money.
special.
Yeah.
And then also when I was in Australia, I played in Australia the 2017-2018 winter.
That's right.
I brought back a board from there that there's a pitcher named Mark Hamburger.
Okay. That's
pitched
a real name?
Yeah, it's a real name. And he's a real person. He doesn't seem like it. He seems like a character. He might be made up. I don't know. But I played with him. He pitched in the big leagues for the Rangers. And I bought 2 boards from him when I was in Australia, and I actually brought those back with me. They're made in Australia and brought them back, and that was pretty cool. So
really cool.
I read that. It's like a 7.2. It's a 7'2" board, and that keeps me floating. So
perfect. Keeps you floating.
Yeah.
Most important.
Yeah.
In the sharky waters.
Yeah.
Cal,
Oh man.
right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love it. So I mean, you have some great creative outlets. They're more physical, obviously. You said the physical pursuits for you are kind of bread and butter.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Any books right now that you're reading? I know you've been a big reader.
Yeah, I actually. I love the military too. That's one. I don't know if that's a hobby or not, but I did Army ROTC at Cal my freshman year. I don't remember. Yeah,
I do.
And so the military has always been something that fascinates me. And so I'm reading this book written by Don Mann. He's an ex-SEAL Team 6 guy. It's just called Inside SEAL Team 6.
Oh, sweet.
It's some of his stories, his childhood upbringing, and all that. And those books always fascinate me. But that's what I'm working through right now.
If you were to join a arm of the military,
Yeah.
or branch rather, what would it be?
Gosh, I don't know. So I think about this quite often. I probably Army or Navy, and I say Army first because I'm not a fan of I'm not a good swimmer. And so I think, even though I surf, I'm not a great swimmer. I think I'd want to go the Army route this way, stay out of the water, you know?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You'll get good at swimming.
You'd have to, I guess, you know?
Completely. So. Love it. Yeah, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Well, I'm going to tap Will in really quick because I would love to get a quick little segment, catcher to catcher.
Let's go.
Right?
I'll give you a high five,
Let's go. Come on. Let's
Fitness
go.
Center.
Let's go.
All right. I mean, off the top, I'm trying to think. I was telling you earlier that, being a catcher, there was like kind of a unique bond that we had.
Yeah.
I'm a bit out of the game now, but there's definitely things that fascinate me about pro ball that I didn't necessarily get to experience. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if you had the same experience as me in college where, you had Schmitty's here.
Oh, I was like, my bad. Go say hi to Will. You're good. They're on camera, but go say hi.
Schmitty!
Sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Brett. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Let's go.
We'll fire back up.
Well, I was like walking around. I was like, I can't. I just heard their voice.
I guess to tap back in, my experience in college as a catcher was obviously you're known as the quarterback behind the dish, and you're in charge of the pitching staff. You have a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Did you call pitches in college, or did you have a pitch caller?
Oh man, I think the pitching coach at the time, Thomas Eager, who's now at Stanford, I think he called pitches, if I'm not mistaken. With Dalton, on the other hand, though, we actually, I believe him and I called the game. I'm pretty sure.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, because Dalton and I mean, we played against each other for so long. I mean, we played with each other when we were like 13 or so. So I think we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to do. And also, he was so good, I don't think it mattered what pitch I called. I think the guy was getting out. You know what I'm saying?
He knew exactly what he wanted to throw.
Yeah.
But what would you say that the biggest transition from college to pro ball was as a catcher?
Okay. As a catcher, I think just like you're playing every single day.
Yeah.
I remember, and when I first, I mean, it wasn't too long ago, but 2016, it was when I first started, and I got drafted by the Braves and was playing with them, and they were a pretty old school organization at the time, and like I was catching 5 games in a row, which is pretty standard for back in the day. But coming from college, like you're catching like maybe 3 games a week, maybe 4, with like plenty of off days in between. You get Monday, Thursday, Friday. But in pro ball, it was like you're 5 days, you're catching 5 days in a row. You might have a day off, and you're on a bus like constantly, right? And then you're catching 5 more days. And I remember how like dead I was.
Yeah.
And I was in Danville, Virginia at the time, which I swear is the hottest place on earth.
Humid.
Yeah, just
sweaty.
dying, man.
Yeah.
No joke. I remember I'd be warming up the pitcher before the game, and I would be lightheaded before the game, before it even started. I would be lightheaded. I'd be thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this game. And somehow I did. I made it through every game. I didn't die. And yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge, is like the constant every single day of playing.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
yeah.
I remember the hardest part for me was just catching on turf, because you wouldn't know it, and this is something that, kind of goes unnoticed as a catcher, but like catching on turf, it was easy, you could block.
Yeah.
It felt like, you could slide well.
Yeah.
But then you wake up the next day and your joints are just toast.
Yeah. Guys hate the turf, man. We have a turf field over at Papago, which is our minor league complex, and there's one turf field, and the guys just hate it.
Yeah.
And I've never noticed it, but like guys absolutely hate it. So our strength coach is like, we don't do certain running on the turf field because of that same reason. Yeah. So I think our running, when we run that day, it's simply inside on the treadmill instead of on that turf field. If we have to be on the turf field for whatever reason, we don't run on that field. So makes sense.
Another thing that's, always fascinating to me is like kind of the cultural aspect of pro ball. I'm not sure what kind of teammates you had, but
yeah,
I know catching especially, and there's a handful of positions, but there's a lot of Latin guys that catch, and they're really good.
Yes.
And kind of that cultural divide and that crossover.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you need to know a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah.
Have you picked up some Spanish?
I have. I guess that could be one of my hobbies. Duolingo, there's an app, right?
Yep, yep.
And so I practice with that. I have been more consistent with it in the past, but I actually picked it up today for the first time in a while. And so I think just through that, and then also just communicate with them. And I mean, they're awesome friends of mine. And so, like, I think just having that ability to speak with them a little bit, it goes a long way, right?
Totally.
Like, I mean, as long as you're okay with making a fool of yourself, saying something wrong, but no, they're awesome guys, man, and just the talent level they have, and just what they're doing over there, like especially in the Dominican, like the facilities that they have, and I mean, I think every affiliate has like a facility in the Dominican, and that's how big of how big of a role they're playing in baseball. Is like teams have invested millions and millions of dollars in money for these facilities, and it's just they've had such a big impact on the game of baseball, and it's like the sport is huge over there, and so just it's awesome to be able to work with people in different cultures, man.
Totally.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a buddy, teammate, friend of mine, send me his schedule today because I was like, I want to link up. Like, what's your schedule like? And he sent me his schedule, and I saw on like the top there was like a portion of like English learning.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't know what that meant, but like in my head, I'm like, oh, it must be for like guys that come from, you know, whether it's Latin guys or European players or whatever, Asian players. Like, it's so crazy to me that, you know, there's so much more to this game of like, you know, they're having to facilitate that kind of language barrier.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've always been fascinated. I love baseball, and there's a number of sports that, you know, there's so many cultures involved.
Yeah.
It's really cool to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of fun. Like, is there some lessons you've learned? I don't know if it's specific to catching, but I would say, like, is there something you've learned? Here's a better way to ask it. Getting drafted as a sophomore, kind of a younger guy. I guess you're draft eligible at 21.
Yeah.
Is there something you know now that you wish you could have told yourself?
Oh man, everything, man, everything. Oh, I tell some young guys, some young guys, maybe higher draft picks, maybe not. That like the first like couple spring trainings, dude, you're kind of just freaking out. Like, you're just so worried that everybody's watching you all the time, and that like every little thing you do is under a microscope. And in reality, like what you do in your first spring training like has zero effect on your entire career. So I think like I would have just told my younger self, like, dude, just relax and like be yourself. So relax and be yourself. Those are the two things that I would have told myself. And that like even today I constantly remind myself, like, dude, what you do on the daily basis, like obviously it's important like to get your work in. That's super important. But the idea of everybody watching you, it's just insane. Like nobody has their eyes on you 24/7. Like obviously you should go about your business the right way, but like putting that pressure on yourself that like what you're doing right now is going to affect you in 3-4 years is crazy. And even that year, like, dude, if let's say you're a higher pick or something, and you show up day one of spring training and till the end of spring training, you don't get a single hit, man. Like I'm telling you, like you're gonna start in the same spot you would have. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the rosters and everything are made up before camp even begins. You know, so like to think that like you're gonna have an effect on where you are. I remember like the year I finished in high A, that next year, like I wanted to break with the AA team, and I don't remember how I did or whatever. I'm trying to think. That was 2018. And dude, I started back in high A. Like I hit 269 that year in high A. Like I did good enough to move up to AA the following year. But it didn't matter. Whatever reason, I think there was another catcher in front of me who's pretty good. Like so, I was starting high A again. Like it didn't matter. I could have done phenomenal. And so I think just taking that pressure off yourself and just like being you, right? Totally. Like that's. I
feel like that's such a valuable message because that's something kind of I learned in a backwards way in college was like. You know, the first 2 seasons, you're so worried about outcomes. Like, did I get a hit? Did I catch a clean game? Did I not mess up? Whatever? And then it wasn't until, you know, my senior year, kind of that transition into senior year where I was able to kind of take a step back and really enjoy little moments. Like, whether it was like the brutal 6 a.m. wake ups, I was able to kind of like flip that script in my brain of like, I'm going to look back, you know, 6 months, a year, a couple of years from now and kind of like miss these little moments. And I feel
That's
like
right.
that's something I learned, and I can hear it as a message you're kind of learning as well, or have learned. That's just applicable to life in general.
Yeah.
Just like there's a lot of adversity you deal with daily, or throughout your career or family or whatever it is, but just being able to kind of zoom out and really appreciate moments.
Seriously, yeah.
Is really cool.
Yeah, taking that step back for sure.
Well, epic. That's all I got from a catcher's perspective. I'm a little rusty with catcher's questions.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay, sick, dude. No, you're the man.
That was great, dude. Thank you so much.
Will?
Yeah, bro.